Well, the message was very powerful. First, that I want to express, and I want to also express a great gratitude to your leadership, to your government, for hosting such an important event, especially in this region. And when you're asking about the message that sounds so strongly to me, it was the respectful coexistence, and I think that's just so inspirational. And it's also the words of peace, of mutual respect, and just that's what struck me the most. And hearing it from so many different people and leaders from this region, and it's not only hearing it, but also seeing and experiencing that they mean what they say. So I think that especially today in the world that we have a lot of crises. I come from a region, Central Europe, where there's a war in the neighboring country, in Ukraine, and there's a lot of fear in the eyes of people, etc. And we really need to seek like what's the direction that we need to walk. But I think the signal that is coming from this region, from especially this gathering today, it's a very strong signal, not just for the region, but it's for the whole world. So very powerful message for me. Yes, I think that's the other thing that you actually see the action, and I just shared today when we were I got the honor to speak also from the stage, and I said, you know, Jesus said that by they will recognize you by the fruit, and I think that's what we are seeing and today here. It's the action, because you see different leaders, you see how the leaders of different religions also appreciate the president, the prime minister, for leading the country in such a respectful way. You are like Kurdistan opened their hearts for so many refugees, and again, these are such a role models. But it was also that the refugees, when they came, they respected and they all coexisted and helped each other. So there is such a not just mutual respect, but I think it's also the respect that brings love, that brings helping each other, that brings the action. It's not only about the words. So I think that's the very powerful and inspirational. Absolutely, it's not just for Kurdistan region. I think it's a soft power is something that is very much connected to the humans, and I think that's what we human creations need to realize, that if we pay the human dignity to each other, that has the most influence, because we all of us wants to live in peace on this world, and sometimes the greed, sometimes the will for power gets in the way, and then it moves the human dignity to the side. But I think we all people deserve to live respected by as a human beings. So, and I think this is the role model that you definitely showing to the whole world. I think you already do. And in my region, Kurdistan is not unknown. We do have people who travel to Kurdistan, who cooperate with your local people, etc. So we knew about your path, we knew about your action, and like you were asking, it's not just the words, we see the action. So I think the story of Kurdistan is a powerful story that needs to continue, and we just need to share it more so people can really think of the depth and the richness that is here among you people, and really get inspired. So I think that's very important. Well, this is also very interesting to see, because what I realized, especially in this region, that is very rich region, also to reached by religions. As you said, there's so many religions in one place, we could say, and we are not really used to seeing this in the Western world. We see maybe 2, 3 religions, but here we saw leaders speaking for different religions that we don't see present in the neighborhoods where we live. So it's really inspirational to see how they pay respect to each other, and as you said, what's happening among the people. So again, I think you understand the values of human dignity probably better than we do. And it was interesting for me to see also, I'm Christian, but I feel here, I would say, more respected as a Christian than I, as a Christian, respected in my home country. And that when you think of that idea for my culture, it really strikes me that how great it is that you people recognize the differences among the people, and you're seeking the unity in diversity. you actually know what it means, what it feels like. You're living in it, where we rather speak about it, and sometimes we don't really know how to get to it. So again, this is, to me, I'm taking so many inspirations out of this visit to Erbil and to Kyrgyzstan. So thank you for that. I think the peace is now, especially these days, it's an important value to speak about, but we see that not always for all the people it means the same. And we need to speak about it much more. And just like you said, it's not only about the political leaders that speak about the peace, it's also about the religious leaders speak about the peace, but it's also about the people speak about the peace. And in a respectful way, that we respect and we listen to each other, and we actually seeking the, and I think that the peace must have the respectful coexistence in it. Because sometimes, we feel that there is a pressure for peace, that you lose something and I win something. But then the people feel the bitterness that it wasn't fair, etc. So that's why I think it's very important, before we step into the peace, that we start to respect each other, and respecting each other goes through listening to each other. And it's on the level of people to people, on religious leaders to religious leaders, to political leaders to political leaders, so across the whole society. So that's very important, that we have to realize that it's not only the responsibility of few people, but it's the responsibility of all of us. And what I also appreciate, based on what I experienced speaking to leaders during this meeting, that the leaders understand and they want to be close to people, to your citizens in this region, which is again very unique. We see in the Western Europe sometimes that there is a push for the centralization, like gathering the power into the hands of a smaller group of people, which it's not healthy. The politics always must be very close to the people. So I think this is another important inspiration that I'm taking from this region. Absolutely, and actually today during the gathering we had several panels on religious freedom that spoke also about how to prevent this violence, how to work with the violence, and I think it's really there's a great expertise already that many people been working on this, and there is we can speak about the symptoms, but we can speak also about the reasons, and I think we have to address both, because to address the reasons is more challenging, and I think it needs certain strategy and cooperation of a wider region. But of course, it's needed to work with the symptoms as well. So, but it's always sad to hear about any violence that is related to this to the religion, and we should do our maximum effort to stop it, to prevent it, and to lower it from the short term. So. Yes, and that's a big topic. I mean, we could spend hours on this. In general, if you look at Europe, since we are part of European Union and we're part of NATO, yeah, we started to live the peaceful coexistence. But I think we're struggling with another thing, that some of the values been watered down because of the comfort we live, and like for example Slovakia, we were part of I would say the Eastern Bloc during the Cold War. So we had a totalitarian communist regime, and religious freedom wasn't allowed. People in my country, if they would say that they're believers, they were Christians, they were persecuted. So we went through a persecution. Many people actually died. They were put to prison. They were tortured. And so there was a 40 years of great oppression on the believers in general. So we know it's different, probably what you are going what you are going through in this region, but on the we understand the oppression that could be persecute that the believers could experience. So therefore, to us now there are people who forgot, or they weren't born yet, so they don't really know. So that's why I think it's so important to really learn from the history, and also to the young generation, to show them what were the atrocities of the religious persecution, so it doesn't repeat again. So, and therefore when we started this discussion, I told you that here I actually feel as a Christian, it feels like I'm more respected, because you have respect to all kinds of religions, and in Slovakia and I think in Europe, we don't honor religions as much anymore, which I think is a mistake, and therefore I think we can learn from you, and that's why I said it is an inspiration for me to really see the people of different religion and behaving so nicely to each other. People in Slovakia, there's many people who know the region because they've been connecting, they've been helping, they've been connected somehow. But in general, it's not as known, and I think it's important to really build these kind of relations and ties, and also open your region for tourism, because we know that that's, like I said, one time to see is better than 1,000 times to hear, and especially to experience and meet your people. People of Kurdistan travel to Europe and Slovakia, so that always helps to learn more about our relationships and what we live and what we're going through. So I think this is definitely a great way, and that's why I'm so glad that we have people here from more than 50 countries around the world, and they experiencing not just the hospitality but also the dialogue, the values, and I think it will gonna have an effect. Absolutely, I think just the experience that I have, it's different when you speak out of your own experience and when you speak only that you read something. So the personal experience is always the great promotion, and it will. I already shared with you that I get inspired in so many ways. So when I will travel around Europe, which I do, and so I can share about my experience, and I think this will be definitely very interesting for many people that I meet to hear about. And they know, many of my friends around Europe, they know that I'm here in Kurdistan, so I'm sure that when I return, they will be asking me much more about how was it, and I will be able to share my experience. Well, I think it is already appreciated, and I appreciate it very much, the role model that you are in this region, and also by hosting this event. As I said in the beginning, I think it's very important to put the spotlight on what's going on here in Kurdistan, how you treat each other, and that's possible because many times people might think like it's impossible to live in such a respect as you live, but now we see that it's possible. It's been possible here for really long time, and that's exceptional. That's really a great role model, I would say. So I think it's just about really speaking to more people about it, really promoting the model that you live, and not just for the region, but also for other parts of the world. Because I think the values, that's the depth of your coexistence. That we need to speak also the values that help you to live like this. Because we cannot just imitate it. We have to understand how you achieve it. How does it work in a daily life? And that's why we need to speak to you more and learn from you. Okay, so how does that work? Because that's applicable for other areas of life as well, even in Europe, etc. So I think it's about developing closer ties, really traveling. For us, people from Europe or other parts of the world, travel more to Kurdistan, learn from you, get to know the country, get to know the people, and also for the people from, especially the leadership of Kurdistan, travel and visiting other countries. And I know that you have your representatives, and I think they're trying to do a great job. From what I've met, some of them. So I think this is just a process that is growing, and it's important to continue. So I encourage you to continue in the great works that you've been doing till now. Well, I think it is already in certain extent. And as you said, I think it's the model where we can see that even different religions, totally different religions, you could say from outside, if you don't really go into the depth, can live next to each other and can respect each other. Because at the end of the day, it's about the human dignity, about respecting you as a human being, about blessing you as a human being. And I think this is something that if we follow this principle, that I respect you just because you're a human being, that's enough for me. That I don't have a motive to harm you or anything like that. And that's already the great start, the great foundation of the peace. And I think we have to learn that the religious freedom and peace go hand in hand, and you are a great example of that. So I appreciate all your action on this field. Oh yes, yes I did, and we saw performances during the day today during the gathering. I actually recorded several videos of that. It's very rich culture that you have, and you have also a great food. So your cuisine and your culture is really rich, and it's definitely worth observing and seeing more. And I will definitely recommend many people to come and experience your culture, your food, your people, and the whole atmosphere.
کەواتە ئێمە میلەتێکی جوان و جیاوازین.
Sorry?
کەواتە ئێمە میلەتێکی جوان و جیاوازین.
Absolutely, absolutely. I see the uniqueness in your nation, and it's really
بەڵێ.
beautiful.